Hummel Farm with Andrew and Laura Hummel of H&H Farms, and we're going to learn more about their pig operations. So, why don't you go ahead, Laura, and tell us what we're about to go look at.
Okay, well first we are in southern Grundy County. We are really close to the BCLUW kids, and Andrew goes to Grundy Center. So we have farrowing barns and gestation barns and a finishing barn on our operation. What that means is that the babies are born here, and then we raise them until we take them to market here.
Okay, shall we take a look inside the farrowing barn?
So this is the farrowing house. This is the barn where our sows give birth to their baby pigs. It's a nice warm barn. It's 72 degrees in here right now, and we have it temperature controlled. We have fans and misters when it's hot. We can drip water on them. When it's cold, we can put heat on them. So right now you can see that some of the crates are empty, and that's because we've already taken the sows away. The piglets are about 3 to 4 weeks old. We take the sows and we move them back into the other barn.
Andrew, you want to show us some of the feed that the pigs eat?
Yeah. This is feed what the pigs eat, and there's corn and soybeans in it.
Okay. Do you keep feed in front of the pigs at all times?
Yeah.
Alright. So where's their water at, Andrew? Can you show us that?
The water's in here. You stick their tongue into it, and it just comes out. And the little pigs have one like that too. They push it or push it in.
Okay, great.
And the baby pigs have feed, little pellet feed, and we put that on the mats for them.
So Laura, when you guys are farrowing pigs, do the mother pigs need help getting the babies out like cows do sometimes?
Usually the mother pigs are able to give birth to their piglets without help. Sometimes we need to keep an eye on them though. If they do need help, we're here to assist them. But they're easier to have babies than the cattle.
Okay. That question from Mrs. Schultz and Mrs. Billington and Conrad. They also want to know, how old the baby pigs are when they leave their mother.
Well, it depends on the farm operation, but anywhere between 3 weeks and 4 weeks, usually the pigs are ready to start eating those pellets that we just showed you. You can see them chowing into what we just fed them.
Okay, good. They also want, there's a sow drinking from the water. And Conrad, they also want to know, how do the farmers know when the pigs are ready to have their babies?
We look at their udders, and if they look really big, sometimes you can see the little feet kicking around of the babies. And also the sows will get kind of restless. They'll start banging on their crate.
Okay. And one other question they have in Conrad is, what kind of food do the pigs eat? We talked about what kind, but how much of the feed do they eat?
In this barn, they'll get about 10 pounds a day of this ground feed.
Okay. And how about the sows that don't have babies? How much do they get per day?
Those are in the other barn, and those get about 4 pounds a day.
Okay, super. And the last question from Conrad deals with, where do all these little pigs go when it's time for harvest?
We take them to JES in Marshalltown, or if we're digging them for us to eat, they go to Grundy Center to J&E Meats. They'll offer in Grundy Center.
All right, good. Now remember, kids, we've talked a lot about Swifts in Marshalltown and how they provide lots of jobs for people in our area. So that's another good thing that we get from hog production, is lots of jobs are produced as a result. So now we're going to go look at something else.
This is a heat lamp. That's a heat lamp, and when the pigs are first born, they need extra heat to keep them warm. We give them light bulbs. But as they get older, like that other row, then we take them off of it.
Okay.
So when they're little, we start off with lots of heat lamps.
Great.
So this barn will hold 28 sows.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna stop now. We're gonna take a look real quick at a group of pigs that are nursing. It looks like one of them's taking a nap on Mama's head.
And they're grunting because it's time to eat. That's why you hear the sows grunting.
Is that the sound the mama makes to make the pigs know that it's time to eat?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Okay, well we're going to go into the gestation barn now. Okay, so now we're in which barn?
This is the gestation barn. So this is where the sows that are not having babies live. So in this barn you have sows that are going to have babies in May, and you have sows that are going to have babies in July.
Okay.
And then you have the sows that just came out of the barn yesterday. Those are the other crates.
Okay.
So this room is also environmentally controlled, and you have curtains on the side. The curtains are up right now because it's cold outside. But in the summer, those curtains will come down and it'll let a nice breeze through.
Okay. Mrs. Blom's class in Grundy Center wants to know more about the body of the pig. They want to know, for instance, how many bones are in the pig animal?
And there are 216 bones in a pig, and the muscles are, if you remember that Mrs. Murdy brought you a muscle chart with the different cuts of meat, the different cuts of meat are the muscles, so you can look at the muscles on your meat chart.
Okay, great. And as for the joints, kids, we're not real sure how many joints there are, but it's probably quite a few, so maybe you can find that for us. Mrs. Geider's class, and this is something I probably should have asked in the other barn, they want to know how many pigs one mother can have at birth.
Okay, so a mama pig can have average 10 to 12 pigs. That's a good average, but it varies. It's kind of like, you know, some dogs have a lot of babies one time and they don't have very many another time. But 10 to 12 is a pretty good average.
Okay.
And then I'll show you the feed eater in here because it's different.
Okay.
These pigs get their feed up from this container, and it drops down into their water.
Oh, okay.
So they get water from a trough, and they get their feed all measured out from up here.
So is it done just at certain times a day?
Just once a day they get feed.
Okay. All right. Mrs. Lindeman's class in Grundy Center wants to know, are there different kinds of pigs, and if so, how many kinds are there?
There are a little over 70 different breeds of pigs, all with unique characteristics and colors. It's kind of like dogs. You have big dogs and you have little dogs. Well, pigs can be the same. You can have white pigs, you can have what we call Duroc red pigs.
Okay, super. Is there anything else you want to show us in the gestation barn?
We have approximately 100 cows total in here.
Okay.
The total on the farm. So they eat, sleep, and grow.
Okay.
There's a finisher right now, and we want to show you what a feed bin looks like.
There's the finisher.
When the feed truck comes, it brings a truck that has a long arm, or an auger, and it puts it in the top of these feed bins. And then the feed comes down, goes through these white pipes, and goes into the room. And that's the same with the other rooms also. Each stage of pig has its own feed, and that's why there's different feed bins for each part of the building.
So when the feed truck comes and you ask them to put feed in the gestation barn, that feed is probably different than what you would put in the finishing barn.
Correct. Each stage of pig needs a different different menu, a different nutrition. Just like you guys eat baby food when you're little, the piglets eat baby food, and grown-ups eat grown-up food.
Okay. All right.
And there's also fans out here, and you can see their curtains are up too because it's cold out here, so that's why these curtains are up and the fans aren't going right now.
Okay. Well, before we go into the finisher, I got a couple questions for you and Andrew. First of all, Mrs. Weinberg at Dyke, New Hartford, her class wanted to know more about how much pork we get from a pig that goes to market. So I'm going to show you a quick picture here. I'll get Laura to help me. So this is a cut. This is what a live pig looks like, and they just kind of drew lines on the picture of the pig to show you more about where we get the different cuts of meat. So on here it might show, for instance, it shows that we get about 9 pounds of ground meat or sausage from a pig. They might get about 23 pork chops, about 10 pounds on the shoulder. You can see the loin area is where we get a lot of our higher end cuts like we talked about in class, and we might get up to around 20 pounds from the hams. So we get quite a bit of meat from the pork animal itself. And to give you a little bit more specific numbers, I have those for you as well. We get about 18 pounds of pork chops, 4 pounds of spare ribs. I'll take a look at that again. 4 pounds of spare ribs, 12 pounds of sausage, 24 pounds of ham, 20 pounds of bacon, 12 pounds of the shoulder roast, 14 pounds of shoulder picnic roast, 16 pounds of bones and trimmings, and there's about 30 pounds of fat. So that's what we get from the pig. And one other question they had, when you sell them to market, do you cut them up, do they get harvested here on the farm, or do they get cut up into retail and wholesale cuts somewhere else?
We load them out of this barn onto a livestock trailer, and they stay alive on our farm. We take them to JBS, and that's where they harvest them. And then JBS in Marshalltown doesn't actually sell them directly to the grocery store. It has to go through a few more steps, a few more distribution people.
And they also wonder in Mrs. Weinberg's class how many piglets a sow might have in her lifetime.
If a sow lives for about 3 to 4 years, she might have about 2 litters a year. So that would be 2 litters times 3 years is 6. And if we say she averages 10 piglets per litter, that's 60 piglets.
All right, thank you.